All right, let's talk about one of the biggest TV moments of the year. We're talking about the shocking exit of a fan favorite character from a show that's been a staple for over 2 decades now? Today, we're digging into the real story behind director Vance's absolutely jaw-dropping departure from NCIS.
So yeah, fans are still reeling, and pretty much everyone is asking the same simple question. After 18 seasons as the steady hand guiding the agency, why on earth did NCIS kill off director Leon Vance? We've done the digging to find out exactly what went on behind the scenes. It all went down during a huge moment for the series, the 500th episode. And believe me, the writers designed this thing from the ground up to be completely and totally unforgettable.
Okay, so here's the play-by-play. The NCIS agency gets officially shut down by the Department of Defense. But Director Vance, he absolutely refuses to go down without a fight. He protects this crucial piece of evidence, but in the process, he gets fatally shot by a corrupt CID agent who's part of this whole big conspiracy. His final act blows the whole thing wide open, gets NCIS reinstated, and cements his legacy forever. I mean, talk about a heroic and tragic way to go out. Okay, so that's what happened, but the real mystery, the big question we're all asking, is why? Why did the creators make this shocking call? What was the real thinking behind the scenes? And let's get one thing straight right off the bat, because this is super important. It was not actor Rocky Carroll's choice to leave. He didn't ask for this, which, just makes the story behind it all that much more interesting. Well, the answer comes straight from the source, executive producer Stephen D. Binder. The reason was actually pretty simple but really powerful. For a milestone like the 500th episode, they wanted a moment so huge it would send, and I quote, shockwaves through the entire fan community. And yeah, killing a main character after almost 2 decades, that'll definitely do it.
And get this wasn't some snap decision they made overnight. The idea of killing off Vance had actually been floating around the writer's room for more than 10 years. They always hesitated, because he'd become such a central and beloved part of the show.
But in the end, the writers didn't see this as just a move for shock value. For them, it was a tribute. In their minds, the most honorable way for a character who lived and breathed for the agency to go out was to die for it. It was his final, definitive act of sacrifice that really sealed his legacy. So that's the writer's room perspective. But what about the man who actually played him? Let's dive into what Rocky Carroll thought about all this.
18. Just let that sink in. 18 seasons. That's how long Rocky Carroll played Director Vance. To give you some perspective, he joined the show way back in 2008. That is an incredible run by any television standard. And honestly, Rocky Carroll himself puts it perfectly. He compares his 18-season run to living to be 105, a rare, full, and totally complete experience. It just goes to show how grateful he is, even with how suddenly it all ended. So how did he find out? Well, the news came out of nowhere. The executive producer literally walked into his trailer in late 2025, right before they were supposed to film the 500th episode, and just laid out the entire plan. Carroll said his first reaction was like a total out-of-body experience. But here's the thing that might surprise you. After that initial shock wore off, his very first thought wasn't, oh no, I'm losing my job. As a storyteller and director himself, he immediately saw the power of the idea. He admitted, it's actually a terrific story. He knew nobody would see it coming. And that powerful story, it led to a really, really memorable and honorable on-screen exit. And it had this poignant final scene with a very, very familiar face. So in that final scene, who was going to be the one to guide Vance to the other side? The writer's first thought was, of course, Ducky. But the beloved actor David McCallum was no longer with us. So the reality became this beautiful tribute in its own right. Young Ducky, played by actor Adam Campbell. The show's producer, Stephen Binder, actually admitted that he hadn't even thought about bringing Ducky back until he just happened to catch a rerun that had Adam Campbell in it. The second he saw his face, he knew. It was the absolute perfect way to embody Ducky's spirit and honor David McCallum's legacy one last time. And if that wasn't emotional enough, get this. The very last scene Rocky Carroll ever filmed for the show was Vance walking toward the light to reunite with his wife, Jackie. He said you didn't have to manufacture any emotion on set that day. It was real, it was raw, and it was right there for everyone to feel. All right, so Director Vance is gone. What happens now? What does the future hold for NCIS and for the man who played him for so long? So let's break down what's next. First off, this isn't a final goodbye to Rocky Carroll. He's actually already been back behind the camera directing new episodes, which is awesome. As for the show, the team is going to grieve, but they're going to honor Vance's sacrifice by carrying on the mission. His death also leaves this massive power vacuum at the top, which sparks the next big question for all of us fans. Who's going to be the new director of NCIS?
Which really leaves us all with one final thought to chew on. Was killing Director Vance a truly fitting, heroic sacrifice for the character? Or was it a huge, risky gamble for a show this deep into its run? Well, I guess that's something we, the fans, will have to decide. Thanks for tuning in.